Hello my friends, and welcome to The Last Jacobite, and thank you for tuning into this video. A long time ago I started my academic career by studying psychology, so I know a little bit about psychology. And I want to talk about something today called cognitive dissonance. Let me just read you what it is. It says, sometimes people hold a core belief that is so very strong that when they are presented with evidence that works against that core belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted. It would create a feeling that is extremely uncomfortable, and that is called cognitive dissonance. And because it is so important to protect the core belief, they will rationalize, ignore, and even deny anything that does not fit in with that core belief. That was a psychologist called Franz Farin. Yesterday, I talked about the fact that the Sunday Herald had outed the fact that there was going to be no commitment towards independence in the SNP manifesto. And of course that raised a storm, didn't it? And it was a storm of cognitive dissonance. I had one person contact me and they said, "Why are you reporting what was said in that unionist rag?" I said, "Unionist rag? Hold on. Was the Herald not the first paper to come out in support of independence?" They thought about that for a second and said, but that was the Sunday Herald, not the Herald itself is a unionist rag. I said, well, funnily enough, the report was in the Sunday Herald. I said, they've got it wrong. Well, no, they've not got it wrong. I'm looking at a report from today's Herald. And of course, like I said yesterday, Sturgeon was forced by the outing in Sunday Herald to say something. And this is what she said. She said, "It's news to me that there won't be a clear commitment to a second referendum in the SNP manifesto." But then you go on and you actually read what was being said. You see, way back in the October SNP conference, Sturgeon said, and it caused a storm at the time among us true patriotic independent supporters, she said that it would be wrong to propose a new vote without strong and consistent evidence that significant numbers of no voters had changed their mind. And party insiders suggested that this meant that the opinion polls had to be running at a constant 60% support for independence. Well, here's the nub of it. We all know that politics these days is about spin. How do you spin something? Well, I want to get into the back of this particular story because the back of this story really says it all. Let's lay aside for the moment the fact that we do have consistent opinion polls that say that the vast majority of people in Scotland today want independence. Let's just lay that aside. Let's forget about that for a moment. Let's forget about the fact that we all know it was a rigorendum, not a referendum. But let's just lay that one aside. So far, since she took leadership of the Scottish National Party, Nicola Sturgeon has only said two things about independence. She said that there would have to be some sort of major change, and she keeps using the example of the EU referendum to justify a second rigorendum. And then, as she said at the conference, that it would be wrong, she said, to have another rigorendum without the significant, somehow amorphous way of knowing whether the so-called no voters, and I don't think there was as many of them as people think, have changed their mind. But of course, out of that came this slow burn idea that we had to win the hearts and the minds, and the slow burn, and it would take time, and maybe that would mean that we could have another referendum in 2018, or maybe 2020, or I've heard 2025. Now these are all dates that the SNP themselves are giving out. So when I say there's not going to be a clear commitment for independence in the manifesto, that's the truth. Now, Sturgeon in today's Herald says that she's listening. Are you listening, Nicola? Because I don't think you actually are. I don't think you're hearing what the people of Scotland are telling you, which is that we want out of this accursed union now, not tomorrow, not next year, not in 10 years' time, now. And there's reasons for that, but I'll come to that in other videos. I want to stick with this for a moment. You see, what's going to happen is that there'll be possibly a vague reference to another referendum in the manifesto, because she has to now. And it'll be something along the lines of, oh well, if there seems to be a significant turn where no voters are turning to yes, and we're polling at a constant 60-70% for yes, then maybe at some point through the course of the next Holyrood Parliament, we'll consider another referendum. Maybe that satisfies some. Certainly doesn't satisfy me, because I'll tell you what else flows from that. As the traitor Mundell has said, if there isn't a clear and a very clear roadmap to independence in the SNP 2016 manifesto, then they cannot come along at 2018 or 2020 and say, well, now we seem to have the poll results that suggest that we want to have another referendum. UK government, can we please do it? Because UK government will turn around at that point. Cameron will turn around at that point, and he will simply say, you didn't put it in your manifesto, you do not have a mandate. It's as simple as that. Now, what I'm suggesting, shocking as it is that's actually what Nicola Sturgeon wants. Because if that happens, follow me on this, then again, it's something else that we can all just wring our hands. Oh, how terrible is Waste Monster. And if only they would let us hold a referendum, we would do it. But now we're going to have to wait to 2021, and we'll put it clearly in our manifesto. Aye, well, you know, it doesn't screw on. Although the way some people are acting, you'd think it did. So again, across Facebook and social media, you see the nonsense that says, vote SNP 1 and 2, let's get rid of all the unionist politicians from Scotland. They're gone. Who are they getting rid of? But let's just say, just for a moment, that we decided to take that advice. Let's just say that every one of us independent supporters in Scotland vote 1 and 2 for the SNP. Let's just say that we have a situation where we fill Holyrood with a vast majority of SNP MSPs. What difference would it make? Apart from the SNP, Nicola Sturgeon, being able to do whatever she wanted without being really challenged, which is where we're at the moment, what difference would that make to Scottish independence. Now, if the SNP will come out, if Nicola Sturgeon will come out and say, here's a magic number, if we get this many MSPs, we'll declare independence, because we've had a clear mandate from the Scottish people, then the last Jacobite will campaign for that. But she won't, because she doesn't want it. People of Scotland, please wake up. Now, all I'm asking you to do is to think, to look at the evidence, to listen to what's been said. Try going to your local SNP meeting sometime, branch meeting, and speak about independence. That's all you need to do to know that this is an SNP deception. It's quite simple. I want to talk about history today, but the video would go far too long. I'll get into that tomorrow. But trust me, some vaguely worded reference to a maybe endem if circumstances are right, she might as well say, get it up you, because there's not going to be any move towards independence. I'm Last Jacobite. Thank you for watching. Kept forgetting to say in the last couple of videos because I'm new to this, but I do have a Facebook page. Please like it, and please subscribe to this channel. And I'll get more of these out to you as soon as I can. God bless you, and Sora al Bagubrath.